Yeah, cutting up juniper roots, man. Okay. Let's go back, man. Let's get back to the subject. Luke 19, verse 22, when he saith unto him, out of thine own mouth will I judge thee, thou wicked servant. Thou knewest that I was an austere man, taken up that I laid not down, and reaping that I did not sow. Wherefore then gavest not thou my money into the bank, that at my coming I might have acquired mine own with usury. Right? So you could have did something, man. You could have gave some money. You could have supported the Israelites somehow. You could have did something. You know what I'm talking about? You could have housed a brother or a sister for some time. You know what I'm saying? You could have done something. But what did it say, man? Luke 19, verse 24, and he said unto them that stood by, take from him the pound, and give it to him that hath the 10 pounds. And give it to him that hath 10 pounds, right? See? Why? You know why he do that? Because the one who produced more with his talent is more capable of producing more with his talent. He's able to bring forth more fruit with the talent that he was being responsible over. Okay. Verse 25, and they said unto him, Adoniah, he hath 10 pounds. You see this? They in the wilderness. I'm talking about Adonai, he already got 10 pounds. You know what I'm saying? See, you see, and they mad that he getting more. They complaining that he getting more pounds because he already had a whole lot already as it is. Right? This is the mindset of the Israelites, man. Crabs in the bucket. Don't want you to have something. You try to do something with yourself. You try to do what the Most High said. They try to stop you from doing the Most High's work. Because they wanted to prevent this man from receiving more pounds, more than what they had. So you see that envy right there. You see that right there, man. What if the Most High, because he saw that spirit on them, he purged them out? My goodness. They talking about he got 10 pounds. He already got a lot. Why you giving him more? See, that complaining and murmuring spirit right there. Right there in the wilderness. Right there, man. He got 10 pounds. Getting mad because he about to get more. Verse 26, for I say unto you that unto everyone which hath shall be given, and from him that hath not, even that he hath shall be taken away from him. Right? And here's the point. Here is the point. Right? Luke 19, verse 27. But those mine enemies which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. You see that? Those enemies, those are the same people in the beginning of the parable that said we will not we would not allow this man to rule over us. Those are you Israelites, right? That had the Messiah crucified in the Roman Empire, that was talking about crucify him, crucify him. We have no God but Caesar. And guess what? That's the same generation that's going to be in the wilderness, which is the generation that most likely they're here right now. They're going to be taken in the chariot. They're going to be brought into the wilderness. And them same people that said we would not have this man rule over us or reign over us, he gonna allow them to be taken, right? And the scriptures say what? But those mine enemies, which would not that I should reign over them, bring hither and slay them before me. So you see, y'all just gonna be brought into the wilderness just to get slayed before the Lord, man. This is the dialogue in the wilderness. This is how he gonna plead with you, man. You understand? This is how he gonna plead with you. He gonna be like, yo, you hid your talent in a napkin? You knew how I was. Why you ain't invest the talent, you know? And then it could get interest. Why you ain't do that? This is what he gonna say to you in that day, man. This is what he gonna say. That's how he gonna plead with you face to face. All you Israelites, okay? You hid your talent. All you Israelites that made an excuse. You was occupied in the affairs and cares of this life. All you Israelites that y'all did the work, but y'all did it deceitfully. All y'all gonna be rounded up, taken in a chariot. Y'all going to escape the destruction. When y'all get brought into that wilderness, man. When y'all get brought into that wilderness, it's gonna be on and popping. And he gonna plead with y'all. Y'all gonna say y'all didn't have no sin. Y'all don't say y'all didn't do nothing. Right? This is what y'all gonna say, man. Y'all gonna say I hid my talent. Y'all gonna say, Adonai, Adonai, have we not prophesied in thy name? Some of y'all gonna be speechless. Alright? Some of y'all gonna be speechless. Some of y'all gonna have on strange apparel. Some of y'all gonna say we prophesy in your name. Guess what? None of that is gonna be good enough. And you're gonna have your head chopped off. You're gonna get purged out. Like the scriptures say, you're gonna be purged out. Alright? So y'all gonna be purged out right there, man, because all y'all are gonna be rounded up. All y'all that made excuses, y'all got some sort of excuse. Y'all gonna be rounded up, man. That's how it's gonna go down in the wilderness. Alright, let's go back to Ezekiel. Ezekiel 20, man. Ezekiel 20, verse 35, and I will bring you into the wilderness of the people, and there will I plead with you face to face, like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt. So will I plead with you, saith Adonai the power, and I will cause you to pass under the rod. See? What's that talking about? I will cause you to pass under the rod, huh? What's the rod talking about? go to Micah. This is Micah 7, verse 14. Feed thy people with thy rod, right? What's that talking about? How you feed the Most High's people with a rod, man? That ain't no literal rod, because you can't give somebody a piece of wood, right? Whatever the rod is made of, you cannot literally eat it. It says, feed thy people with thy rod, the flock of thine heritage, which dwell solitary in the wood, in the midst of Carmel. Let them feed in Bashan and Gilead, as in the days of old. So what are we feeding the Most High's people with? The rod, right? What's the rod going into? Let's go to Psalm 23, man. Psalm 23, verse 4. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. So the rod is what gives us comfort, right? So this is the thing that we feed our people with. The rod that gives our people comfort, right? Now, what is the rod that we feed our people that we're supposed to give them comfort with? Let's get it in Romans. Go to Romans chapter 15. Romans 15 and 4, for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning, that we through patience and comfort of the scriptures might have hope. So what gives us comfort, huh? Which is the rod that we feed our people. It's the scriptures, right? That's also the law of the Most High, man. This whole word is the rod. These scriptures, the whole book, man, is the rod of the Most High. You understand? So when we go back to Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 37, and I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. You see that? He's gonna bring us back into the bond of the covenant. But we gotta pass under that rod first, man. You understand? That is the test we have to pass in order to get into the kingdom. You understand? It ain't just gonna be some, oh, you get saved from the chariots, right? You flee Babylon, and you're gonna be in the kingdom. Nah, it don't work like that. We going into the wilderness. You understand? And we gotta pass under the rod. We're gonna be tested and tried by the Lord, man. That's why we gotta know these things. We gotta rehearse the righteous acts, man. You see what I'm saying? This is a daunting task. This is serious. This is intense, man. This is deadly serious, man. You know what I'm saying? This ain't no game. He's gonna cause us to pass under the rock, right? Verse 38, it says, and I will purge out from among you the rebels. You see that? The rebels. That's all the people I just mentioned, according to the parables. You know, the people that were focused on the affairs and cares of this life. All the people that made excuses, talk about, I got 5 oxen, I got a wife, I bought some land. All the people that hid their talents, hid their pound in a napkin. Right? All the false prophets, all of the wolves in sheep's clothing. Right? All of the people that did not have on the wedding garment, that were not prepared, they were not clothed spiritually and physically. All of them are the rebels. And they're going to pass under the rod. They're going to be purged out in the wilderness, man. I will cause them to be purged out in the wilderness. It says, and I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn, and they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am Adonai. You see that? They not going to go in, man. Are you false prophets? You people that made excuses? You people that were not clothed? Right? You people that hid your talents in pounds in a napkin? Right? These are the four groups of people, right, that will be in the wilderness, and they're gonna get purged out, right? Because if you got on a wedding garment, you're gonna probably most likely be good. But if you make it to the marriage supper of the Lamb, which is synonymous with the wilderness, you know what I'm saying? You don't have on your garments during that time, which is the wilderness. You gonna get purged out, man. So that shows you right there. There's also gonna be some that get taken in the chariots. Well, I brought out earlier in the lesson the deliverance and the destruction coming at the same time. So when you get delivered, some of y'all gonna be destroyed in the destruction. Some of y'all gonna be taken in the wilderness. Y'all were the rebels. Y'all were the ones that y'all didn't listen to the prophets. Y'all made excuses. Y'all were not clothed in your garments. Right? Y'all were the wolves in sheep's clothing. Y'all gonna be taken in the wilderness, and y'all gonna be purged out, man. Why you think Adonai said, bind him hand and foot, cast him away, take him away? He gonna be cast away into uttermost darkness. There shall be weeping and gnashing of teeth. All right? Because there's gonna be people in the wilderness that are of these four categories that I mentioned, right? And they're gonna be purged out in the wilderness. Okay, the purging process is coming, man. The vetting process, the two-factor authentication. You know how when you go to a website and you gotta click all the bicycles in a capture, you gotta check all the bicycles so you can get to the website. You know they gotta make sure you're not an alien. So you gotta check all the bicycles so they can make sure you're not an alien, and then you can get onto the website. This is how Adonai gonna do. He gonna authenticate you, man. Make sure you're not an alien, a foreigner. He gonna make sure and see if your heart is right. Cause what? Boy, he say, I test the reins, man. I test the hearts and reins of men. Dividing asunder soul and spirit and of joints and marrow, and is a discerner of the thoughts and intents of the heart. That's what he gonna do. He gonna use his word, man. The shepherd gonna be in the wilderness in that day, man. And he gonna have to pass under the rod, man. And it ain't gonna be nice. It ain't gonna be easy. This is the dialogue, man. It is more like a monologue, because he gonna be doing the talking in that day. You try to talk back and buck up at the Most High and his son, you're gonna get your head chopped off, man. You see, I think God is nice. Think he's some sweet Jesus. Nah. Nope. Talking about I love my sweet Jesus. You gonna see, we gonna see if you love him in that day. We gonna see. Adonai is a stern and austere man. He gonna play. All this sweet Jeep, no. He ain't some hippie with a joint in his mouth, man. You know what I'm saying? You better consider the severity of Hamashiach Yahushua, man. That saber tooth, thinking he just some regular lion. Thinking it's a game, man. You know what I'm talking about? And he ain't no average lion of the Serengeti. You know what I'm talking about? Or the Sanhedrin. He's severe. Adonai is extreme. Y'all think, you think it's big. Oh my goodness. Right? Oh my goodness. Can't say it. You know what I'm saying? Stern and austere. Y'all Israelites. Y'all the Israelites. You know what I'm saying? 12 tribes of Israel. You know? Come. Ezekiel 20. Verse 38, and I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me. Right. What is transgression? Sin is transgression of the law. So that's how you know that the rod that we got to pass under is the law. Because when they have to pass under the rod and they don't pass that test, they transgress against the law and they're gonna have to get purged out. Let me ask y'all, you Israelites, this, man. Y'all talk about Friday and Saturday is the Sabbath. But in the wilderness, you ain't gonna have no calendar. So how you gonna know it's the Sabbath? Huh? How you gonna? Because y'all today in this captivity, y'all got a calendar now, right? Y'all determine the days by the calendar that you have currently. So y'all able to count. You able to do a carnal count. Looking at calendar. Talking about the Sabbath is Friday sundown to Saturday sundown. Only way you can determine that is with the calendar that you have. But in the wilderness, there ain't gonna be no calendar. What, you gonna have a calendar in the wilderness? You gonna have you a paper calendar in the wilderness? Explain that to me. How you gonna determine the Sabbath if you don't have no paper calendar? I guess you gotta look at the moon. You gonna be in the wilderness, right? You gotta look at the moon. That's the only way. How else you gonna determine the Sabbath, man? Let's Adonai tell you this is the Sabbath here, blah, blah, blah. He tell you right then and there. How you know he gonna tell you? If so be he be merciful and tell you this is Sabbath, don't break it. How you gonna know it's the Sabbath, man? Other than Adonai telling you, you ain't gonna have no paper calendar. So how else you gonna know? You gonna have to look at the moon, man. Y'all talking about the Sabbath ain't based on the new moon. Well, we gonna see in the wilderness. We gonna see how the Sabbath is determined in the wilderness. We gonna see if Adonai is just gonna hand us a calendar, paper calendar. Here you go. He might do that though. Hey, that might be a prayer. We can start praying right now. That is a prayer we can start praying right now. You know what I'm talking about? I hope he do, man. That'd be great. You think it's gonna be easy? You think he's gonna make it easy? That's why, man, listen, we gotta get these doctrines in order, man. That's why I say come together, O nation, not desired. But y'all want to be individualized, you know? I mean, you got to get these doctrines in order, man. That's all I'm saying. You ain't got no calendar in the wilderness. How you gonna determine the Sabbath? Huh? That's all I'm saying, man. We gotta train, gotta go into training, man. You gotta train, man. You go in the woods for a few days. Try to determine the Sabbath based on the moon when you out there. Alright? If it ain't no cloudy day. Because most high willing, we able to see the clear sky to see the moon. You know what I'm talking about? Or if you can't see the moon, if it's not clear in that day or night, you're going to have to go off what you saw a few days ago. You know what I'm talking about? That's how you're gonna have to go off of that, man. But you gonna have a calendar? Come on, man. We spoke like we gonna have a calendar in the wilderness. You know what I mean? Come on, man.